Hello, welcome back. Today we are going to fit our Adventure Spec side panels so we can mount our Kriega OS-18 bags on the side. Fairly easy to do if you follow the instructions. So I'm going to go through this step by step as per the instructions. So you take the seat off, then you have to take this panel off here. This isn't the easiest of things to do. Firstly, there are two 5mm Allen bolts, one there and another one on the top. So you take those off. You can then push this out, and there are two quite cunning little fittings that look like that. And what you have to do is look inside and get a pokey thing. I just used a 6mm Allen key, and you've got to poke the middle bit out, and then you can grab the big flat bit from the bottom and pull it all out. I lost one of these on the ground. I've got a white stone drive, and they're just a bit of a faff. So when I replace them, I've gone to my little box of tricks in the garage, and I've got these ones, which are a bit bigger, but a bit simpler because they've actually got a thread on them. So rather than try to poke from the inside, when I take them off next time, I'll just unscrew that, and then this flat plate just pulls out nice and easily. So a bit easier than ones that are in there. But there's more to come. So two bolts out, you can open this up, push those bits through out of those holes there. There's also this rubber bung here, which has got that fitting on it. And then there are these three tabs, which you've also got to poke 1, 2, 3 out of there as well. Absolute faff. I've no idea why it's so complicated, but it is. But it's important that you get this panel off and try and keep it all in one piece. Next job is with the instructions, you get a little template which you cut out off a sheet of A4. You lay in there like so, and you use these holes to cut through there. Just an auger bit on there. Which makes these holes. Ta-da! So to refit, the first thing I'm going to do is line up this rubber bung and the tabs underneath. And that's actually pretty solid in position there. I don't really see any need why you need these bits underneath. It's not... Does it rattle? It won't rattle once these two bolts are done up. Anyway. So I'm going to use my bits underneath. So poke those through, and I'll screw those in. And also put the other two bolts on the top and the side. The next job is to remove the rear foot peg hanger, and it's also the exhaust hanger as well, so that we can get this fitting in here, which then attaches to the luggage rack. However, we're never going to use the rear foot pegs on this bike, so we're going to actually take the foot peg off, and we're going to use this little hanger here to replace this hanger. Going to save a bit of weight there as well. So we'll take these off. There's the two Allen bolts. And we'll take this one off as well, which I've already loosened, as you may have seen. There we go. I'll weigh that and put it up on the screen as to how much weight we're saving with that, but it feels quite heavy. So I've just been inside and weighed both foot pegs, and they're quite hefty. They are 1.49 kilos, so 1,500 grams roughly. So that's good weight saving, so that will make up for the bits that we're putting on, so that's good. When you do the foot peg delete, you'll put this bracket back on, and you'll end up with some slightly shorter screws. Instead of having the 5mm Allen, these have got a 13mm hex head. Again, I'm using Loctite on these because I'm paranoid about things shaking off. Just like all the other M8 bolts that we've put onto the bike, we're just going to torque those up to 21 Newton meters. Now we can add our exhaust hanger as well. And there is a load of stuff on there, the way you have to line everything up. So there's a rubber grommet that goes in there, etc. So I'll put all that together and put it on. Okay, so when you're trying to get your grommet and your little shouldered washer on, put the washer on from the outside, from the bit that's got the Adventure Spec bit on it, and just almost poke it through just a tiny little bit. I've put a little bit of silicone spray on this, and by poking it through just a tiny bit, you open up the side that you're going to apply the washer to. It just makes it a little bit easier. So if you're fiddling around with that, then there's a top tip. So that's that done. So next we have our washer and our shouldered nut, or shouldered bolt on there. That's nylock nut's going to go on the inside. It's a nylock nut. I'm not going to put any Loctite on there for obvious reasons. I'm just going to leave that slightly loose. That's the exhaust hanger sorted. Just before we fit the side luggage rack, just going to put these little fittings onto here so that we've got something to screw our little bolts into. When you do this, you could use a screwdriver and using my fingernails. Just make sure that they do line up with the holes, otherwise you'll have a bit of faffing later. They're pretty good actually, because there's little tabs on there to get them centralised, so that's all good. We'll position that there on this side of the hanger. And then lastly, before we put the bolts in, there are two spacers. There's a large one and a slightly smaller one. There you go in there. And I'll just show you actually. There are two bolts, one slightly longer than the other, and that corresponds with the shorter and longer one of these. I'm just going to put the bolts in just to show you something. The holes that we drilled earlier. Yeah, I'd like to think that's pretty accurate. But yeah, it's a 22mm hole, just allowing for, because you drill it on the flat, so it's slightly bigger on one side than the other, but don't drill with anything smaller because these will not line up. If anything, if you've only got a 25mm bit and you can't be bothered to wait for 22-bit in the post, yeah, go for slightly bigger. But there is a little bit of a gap around the outside, but nothing that is going to make you cry every day that you look at it. So there you go with those. Now we can mount our rack. Now with the rack, there is space on here to get a spanner in. Not really enough room to get a socket in to torque them up. But yeah, there's space there so that you can get a spanner in there to mount them. So we'll just go for these holes once more. Hopefully they'll line up straight away. That's one. So there's those. We'll put our hanger in between the luggage rack and the foot peg delete. And I think we'll just put the bolts in there, just loosely, so that we can start tightening everything up. So last but not least, we've got two little bolts here, little M6 ones with a 4mm head. And we'll just line those up with the rack and the hanger. Hopefully that's good. Oh, lovely, that's slotted in first time. Happy days. Okay, so I'll just do the boring bit now where I tighten everything up and torque everything up. We'll put the seat back on and we'll show you what it looks like. Oh, just while I'm doing this, somebody asked me about ratchet spanners before. These are Halford Advanced. Now, normally, I don't really associate Halfords with too much quality, but these are the Advanced set, and these come with a lifetime guarantee. And for jobs such as this, where you can't get a socket in, and you'd have to take it off, put it back on again, oh, they're just great. I don't think they're that cheap, but yeah, I think they're really good. And like I say, they come with a lifetime guarantee, so money worth spent. And for when you're doing jobs like this, where it might save you lots of knuckles, I think they're a really good buy. So I'm just going to have a look to see if you can get a torque wrench in there. No. So, I mean, everything else has been torqued up to, there you go, to 21 Newton meters. So I've got a rough idea of how much shove I should give the spanner. and I can tell the difference between 20 and 40 Newton meters. So yeah, so I've put those on to what I think is about right. I just got to do the exhaust hanger. Everything's done, everything's torqued up. So we'll pop the saddle back on, which I seem to find a bit of a faff on this bike, but there we go, that's done. I think it's starting to look like an adventure bike. Foot peg delete, that's saved us 1.5 kilos, which is good. What we'll do is we'll add up all the weights, all the parts we put on, and we'll take away the bits that we've taken off, and I'll do like a holistic view, because we've still got a couple of bits to go, and we'll see how much weight we've actually added to the bike to turn it a bit more into an adventure bike. Because I think with an adventure bike, you've got to be able to travel, so you need luggage, you need protection, because you're probably going to go off-road, and the other one is the nav mount, and then we've got the tail tidy at the back. So we'll add all that together, and we'll do a little whip round video at the end of all the things that we've put on. But there you go, that's the luggage rack. Oh, let's go and get some luggage and put that on. Here you can see bags installed on the side luggage racks and also the top luggage rack as well. There's plenty of clearance between the right-hand bag and the exhaust. However, I did buy a silicone protector just so that it saves my knuckles when I'm getting the bags on and off. Let me know what you think.